Indiana Fever front office is in serious trouble for revealing some major information.
Just 1 minute ago, the basketball world was rocked to its core. Herb Simon, the billionaire owner of the Indiana Fever, just delivered a bombshell statement that has sent shockwaves through the WNBA community. After watching his team get absolutely demolished in back-to-back blowout losses without their superstar Caitlin Clark, Simon has apparently reached his breaking point with head coach Stephanie White. And what he just revealed might change everything we thought we knew about the Fever's future. The timing couldn't be more explosive. While Caitlin Clark has been away, the Indiana Fever have looked like a completely different team, and not in a good way. We're talking about losses so devastating, so one-sided, that even the most loyal Fever fans have been left questioning everything. These weren't just regular...
Especially with the front office and whatever it takes to go find these players because they're available.
Yeah.
And is it film study? Is it calling other coaching connections? What is
all
this
the above?
like?
Right. It's all the above. It's seeing film, watching clips, talking to contacts and connections. Bree and especially has been super helpful in this. She's got a lot of contacts overseas who have seen Kyra, for example, play a lot overseas. Teammates that she's had that are over there that played with her, against her. Same thing with Odyssey. All three of our assistant coaches coached her in AU, so they have some familiarity with her. So it really is all hands on deck in trying to get the best person possible.
Defeats. These were systematic breakdowns that exposed every single weakness this franchise has been trying to hide behind Clark's brilliance all season long. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sources close to the organization are now reporting that Herb Simon, who rarely makes public statements about basketball operations, held an emergency meeting with team executives just hours after their latest crushing defeat. And what came out of that meeting has people calling it the most dramatic moment in Fever franchise history.
Been on your radar previously? Like, has she been a name that came up earlier in this process?
No.
So now that you've seen her play a little bit and I think having scouted a little bit, what is it about her that makes her the right fit for this
Well,
group?
I think number one, her preparation. From the initial phone call that Amber and Kelly had to, our conversations. She's been watching the team. She's studying what we're doing, studying how we've played opponents on both ends, what we've done to attack, what we've done on the defensive end. Reminds me a little bit of Ari when she came in and really already kind of had some of the playbook down. Her ability to get downhill. She's got some speed and quickness as well.
Since they drafted Clark herself. Let me paint you the picture of just how bad things have gotten without Clark on the floor. The Fever's first game without their rookie sensation was supposed to be a test of their depth, their coaching, their system. Instead, it turned into a nightmare that no one saw coming. They were outscored by 37 points. 37! That's not a basketball game. That's a public execution broadcast on national television. The second game? Somehow even worse. The opposing team was up by 25 points before halftime, and it felt like
How the hell do Bree Turner discover her player? She's no scout. She's no recruiter. How the hell? She's supposed to be focusing on the season, the bad she playing.
they were barely trying. Veteran players were throwing their hands up in frustration, looking completely lost on both ends of the court. The offense looked like five strangers who had never played basketball together, while the defense might as well have been traffic cones. It was the kind of performance that makes you wonder if these players forgot how to play the sport entirely. And Stephanie White, she looked like a deer caught in headlights. The same coach who was supposed to be the mastermind behind maximizing Caitlin Clark's talents was standing on the sideline looking absolutely helpless. Her timeout speeches weren't inspiring. They were desperate. Her substitutions made no sense. Her game plan appeared to be, hope something works. It was painful to watch, and apparently Herb Simon was watching every agonizing minute of it. Now, here's what makes this story absolutely explosive. Multiple sources are confirming that Simon didn't just watch those games from his luxury box, shaking his head. He was taking notes. He was making calls. He was having conversations with people around the league about what he was witnessing. And according to someone who was in that emergency meeting, Simon used words that you definitely can't repeat on family-friendly television when describing what he saw from his coaching staff. The bombshell that Simon reportedly dropped centers around a simple but devastating question. If Stephanie White can't coach this team to competitive basketball when their best player is out for just a few games, what happens when Clark eventually gets injured? What happens during the playoffs when opposing teams have figured out how to neutralize her? What happens when the pressure is at its highest and the margin for error disappears completely? But Simon's concerns apparently go much deeper than just these 2 blowout losses. Sources are now revealing that the billionaire owner has been quietly frustrated with the team's overall development all season long. Yes, Clark has been incredible. Yes, the Fever made the playoffs. But Simon allegedly believes that this team should be so much better than they are, and he's placing the blame squarely on the coaching staff's shoulders. Think about it from his perspective. Simon invested millions into this franchise. He's watched Clark single-handedly transform the Fever from an afterthought into the most talked-about team in women's basketball. The merchandise sales have exploded, the attendance has skyrocketed, the television ratings have broken records. Clark has delivered everything she was supposed to deliver, and more. But the team around her? That's where Simon apparently sees the real problem. The word coming out of that emergency meeting is that Simon specifically called out the lack of player development beyond Clark. He reportedly asked pointed questions about why players like Kelsey Mitchell and Alyssa Smith haven't taken the next step in their games. He wanted to know why the team's offensive system looks completely lost when Clark isn't orchestrating everything. Most damaging of all, he allegedly questioned whether Stephanie White has the tactical knowledge to maximize the talent on this roster. But here's where the story takes an even more dramatic turn. Simon didn't stop at criticizing the coaching. According to multiple sources, he made it crystal clear that changes are coming, and they're coming fast. The exact quote that's being whispered around league circles is absolutely nuclear, but the essence of it was this: I didn't invest in this franchise to watch it waste the most talented rookie in WNBA history because we can't figure out how to coach basketball. The implications of Simon's bombshell are staggering. If he's truly lost confidence in Stephanie White's ability to develop this team, we could be looking at a coaching change in the middle of what should be a celebration season. Remember, White was brought in specifically because of her supposed ability to develop young talent and create winning systems. She was supposed to be the perfect coach for Caitlin Clark's skill set. But if Simon believes she's failing at that fundamental task, her job security just evaporated. What makes this even more explosive is the timing. The WNBA playoffs are right around the corner, and the Fever are supposed to be preparing for their most important postseason run in years. Instead, they're dealing with internal crisis management and questions about whether their head coach can actually coach. That's not exactly the kind of stability you want heading into the most pressure-packed games of the season. The basketball community is already buzzing with speculation about what comes next. Some insiders are suggesting that Simon might move quickly to bring in an experienced assistant coach to essentially shadow White during games. Others believe he might wait until after the playoffs to make a complete change. But the most intriguing possibility being discussed is that Simon might try to poach a successful coach from another franchise, regardless of contract situations. Think about how this affects Caitlin Clark personally. She's supposed to be focusing on her development, on learning the professional game, on preparing for what everyone hopes will be a legendary career. Instead, she's returning to a team where the owner has apparently lost faith in the head coach's ability to put her in positions to succeed. That's not the kind of environment where superstars typically thrive. The broader implications for the Fever franchise are equally concerning. They've built their entire marketing strategy around being Caitlin Clark's team. They've sold season tickets, sponsorship deals, and merchandise based on the promise that they're building something special around their generational talent. But if Simon's bombshell leads to coaching instability, front office chaos, and player uncertainty, all of that momentum could disappear faster than it appeared. What's particularly damaging about these blowout losses is how they expose the complete lack of identity this team has without Clark. A well-coached team might struggle without their best player, but they don't get blown out by 40 points. They don't look like they've never played together before. They don't appear to have no understanding of basic basketball concepts. That's what happens when a team has been carried by individual brilliance rather than developed through systematic coaching. Simon's bombshell also raises serious questions about the Fever's long-term planning. If they can't develop the players they have, how are they going to attract free agents? If they can't create a system that works when Clark is on the bench, what happens when she's double-teamed or neutralized by better defensive schemes? If they can't coach their way through adversity now, what makes anyone believe they can coach their way through a championship run? The most explosive part of this entire situation might be what it reveals about the relationship between Simon and his basketball operations staff. Sources suggest that the billionaire owner has been much more hands-on than most people realized, and these blowout losses might have been the final straw that pushed him to take direct action. In a league where owners typically stay in the background, Simon's willingness to make bold statements about coaching performance could signal a completely new approach to how the Fever operate. As this story continues to develop, one thing is becoming crystal clear. The Indiana Fever's season just took a dramatic turn that nobody saw coming. What was supposed to be a celebration of Caitlin Clark's incredible rookie campaign has suddenly become a referendum on whether this franchise is capable of building a championship organization around her. And based on Herb Simon's bombshell statement, the answer to that question might determine not just Stephanie White's future, but the entire direction of this franchise for years to come. The basketball world is now watching and waiting to see what Simon does next, because one thing is certain: when a billionaire owner makes bombshell statements about his coaching staff, change is coming whether people are ready for it or not.